Back here at Sam Stadium as the Rivera Raiders make their way back out on the field, and in Brownsville, the Raiders lead by the score of 35-0 over the Porter Cowboys. We're set for the second half. Thanks again for joining us here on ValleyCentral.com. Kevin Naro, we've seen some ugly days here as far as weather goes in Brownsville. We got a great day here, but it's an ugly day for a Porter Cowboy defensive coordinator against this Rivera team.
Yeah, and coming into this game, it was going to be a tall order. I'm sure he knew that with Jaquil Evans leading the way for the Raiders in that first half. 35 points in the first half, not a really good way to get your defense going for the Porter Cowboys.
So here we are, second half ready to begin with the Raiders leading 35-0, and for the most part, their offense was clicking, Kevin.
Yeah, their offense was clicking, and again, the passing game was really impressed me the most. The route running from Alec Cruz and Chris Montes, just smooth, crisp routes as this offense, and let's see if they can be able to keep it up in the second half, and with Harlingen South on the horizon. And
also the likes of Jaquil Evans. We saw the lightning speed part of Evans. We also saw the ballet-like movements as he took the ball effortlessly and pirouetted through the defense as well.
And so again, Evans had himself a dandy of a first half. So the Raiders are going to be getting the football for the first time in this second half. Cowboys will be kicking off from right to left.
And again, this is the first broadcast of two coming your way in Brownsville this day, and they're going to have trouble getting the kickoff if the football won't stay on the tee. Second game tonight, much more meaningful in the playoff picture. And Kevin, we were talking over there amongst some other media guys that just how important this game is for both of those football teams. And it's kind of like last night when I was taking a look at the Donna and the Vela matchup, that for Donna to lose that game last night, they still could have regrouped because they had games against Economides and some winnable football games could have kept them in the playoff picture. A Vela loss, in essence, they need a whole bunch of help, and they need to win some big, big games, and that's just to get back into the picture. Now, tonight, if Veterans loses that football game, then they've already lost to Hannah, and they will have lost to Lopez. And so that can pretty much take them out of the playoff picture. However, if Lopez were to lose, Lopez still has that matchup with Hannah, and they still have some winnable football games. So it's a playoff-type scenario for your two teams tonight.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited to see the young sophomore quarterback in Marcus Castillo. And let's see what he can bring up tonight. It's going to be a very big game, probably the biggest game of his career so far.
They'll get the kickoff away, and here come the Raiders on the return. Nice hesitation at the 25, and he slips and falls at the 29-yard line, and on a synthetic turf, that's twice we've seen someone fall right there in that spot, Kevin, where the ground trips him up.
Yep, so they're going to go ahead and field this one at the 31-yard line. That's where the Raider offense will take over for the first time in this second half.
Cowboy defense back on the football field. They did cause one turnover in the first half, but they couldn't capitalize off of that. Raiders, for the most part, moved the ball downfield when they wanted, how they wanted, and scored as many points as they needed, up 35-0 already. Reminding you, highlights of this one coming your way on Action 4 at 6 o'clock, and then also at 10 o'clock if the SEC game goes a little long as Florida and LSU get ready to tee it up. Running play for the Raiders out across the 35 to 37-yard line on that carry is Mario Mendez, sophomore tailback, and we talk about sophomores here in the Brownsville area, and you talked about it earlier, Kevin, this Rivera Raider team, a young bunch. Might want to watch out for them if they really get it going.
Yeah, plenty of juniors and very few seniors. So a lot of these players will be coming back next year, and the only question is at the quarterback position, like you mentioned, because their quarterback will be graduating this year.
Second down, 7 yards to go for the Raiders. Opening possession, second half, up 35-0. Three receiver set, shotgun formation for Danny Elizondo, the quarterback. Hands it off to Jaquil Evans. He's going to be brought down at the 40-yard line. That's one of those, the snap went high. Quarterback and Evans had their hands on it simultaneously. Evans pulled it down, Kevin.
Yeah, and a good tackle there from Jesus Rivera, pulling him down from behind. So a nice play there defensively from the Cowboys. And again, like I mentioned last week, we had seen them make a couple of big plays defensively in the second half. So let's see what kind of adjustments they'll be making out of the first half.
Can they get a stop here to start the second half off with the Rivera Raiders earlier in this ball game, going for it on 4 downs, having not to punt the football against this defense? What will he do here on 3rd and short? Elizondo under center this time. An I formation behind him. Long count, takes it, hands it off. Evans has a first down and more. Across the 45, midfield into Porter territory. Out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Jaquil Evans on 3rd and short turns it into a big game.
Yeah, Jaquil Evans looks like he's a little bit slow to get up on the far side of the field. And they're going to need a healthy Evans in next week's matchup. And I really like what Evans is doing along with his other running back, Mario Mendez. If those two can keep it up and carry what they're doing into this game, into next week's game, they may have a shot.
First down play for the Rivera Raiders. We talked about Brownsville veterans, Brownsville Lopez. Rivera Raiders trying to stay in a playoff picture as well. First down play here for the Raiders. Elizondo takes a snap, hands the ball off, and they'll just rush that one forward for a short gain, maybe 4 on the play, though, after the spot on a carry by Mendez.
And we're seeing a lot of this running back by committee type things, and it translates at all different levels, and it's always a good thing to see. I remember Economidis of last year had 3 different tailbacks, and just like the Port Isabel Tarpons as well. So right here from the Raiders, we're seeing a little bit of mix from Mendez and a little bit of mix from Evans as well.
Port Isabel Tarpons rolled over Progresso last night, 62-21 in that one. We'll dissect them, and the one game I look at, their victory. After this next snap, we'll get that one. Running play by the Raiders, and that's going to go nowhere. Porter Cowboys all over it. Finish the thought. Raymondville, Port Isabel, earlier this year, ended up being called at halftime. PI wins that ball game. But since then, Raymondville's been winning ball games. They've also been showing that they're perhaps the best team in the Valley and making adjustments and coming out with a new look in the second half. A couple of big come-from-behind wins and a big win last night over La Grua. So you look at that win for the Port Isabel Tarpons, and there's a lot of people in Raymondville that wish they could go back and say, hey, let's not just call that because of lightning. Let's replay that entire game. Third down play coming up for the Raiders. Short, tight I formation behind Elizondo, and he'll run the play action, look to throw. Here comes the pass. It's going to be caught. That's a first down inside the 30, 25, down to the 20-yard line. And that's a nice completion on 3rd and long. They went right back to Edward Rubio with another big catch for him.
Yeah, talking about the Bearcats for a moment of Raymondville, I got to do a featured story against them in La Feria a couple weeks ago, and that was a big win for them. And like you said, Raymondville has been able to string together a couple of big wins. Last year, I got to see them in the playoffs against Orange Grove, and they did fall to Orange Grove, but again, like the Tarpons in that later round of the playoffs, they were in that football game and they were well capable of winning. So Raymondville is one of the better teams in the Valley.
Raymondville's got that offense, that high-octane offense they can get going, and they have shown the ability to make adjustments. Even though you got them down, you can't count them out. First down play here for the Raiders of Rivera. Pitch out, Jaquil Evans. There's a wall of blockers. He's going to get to the outside on the left side and step out of bounds, but not before he takes it in the 15, down to about the 13. That's a first down for the Raiders.
So once again, you're starting to see Evans again, displaying his speed. But what I'm really impressed with him here in this afternoon is his patience, weaving his way, finding his blockers.
Turns on the speed when he needs to. First down play, he'll be out of bounds. They'll stop the clock with 8:07 to go in the third quarter. Texas wins. They beat Oklahoma. That will help Mac Brown's cause for probably another year.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma, top 10 team, gets knocked off. First down play for the Raiders. Evans this time runs it up the middle, runs through a tackle, stays on his feet. Now he's brought down inside the 5 at about the 3.
Yeah, but that's what you get in those old rivalry games, like here with Brownsville teams. Last week, got to see a couple of Brownsville teams as well. And, we always say you throw the records out the window, records become irrelevant.
Couple of weeks, there'll be a big rivalry game taking place in Mercedes. Kevin, we got to see that Ed Calchelsa team. Are you a believer that there was talk that they were as strong as any team in the Valley, is looking at how deep they can go in the playoffs?
We'll get to Ed Calchelsa after this play right here.
Raiders on a running play. Evans dices his way down near the goal line, and is he in? No call yet by the official. They'll say he is just shy of the goal line.
We got to see Ed Calchelsa for the first time all season on Thursday night. I think the defense will carry them as long as the defense plays well. So as long as the defense goes, they will go as well. I just have a little bit of a question at the quarterback position. There's not a dynamic quarterback under center for Ed Calchelsa. Bruno Sainz did a tremendous job on Thursday, and Noe Gonzalez, he's a bit limpy on that ankle, so we'll see what happens with the quarterback position for the Jackets.
Here's another running play coming up for the Raiders. They'll fumble the football. That's a loose ball down near the goal line of the Porter Cowboys. Did the defense cause another turnover? Will they get it back, preventing points? We'll wait and see. No indication yet by the official, and now they do. It's going to be a touchdown for the Raiders.
Looks like they fumbled the football, and the ball
Or is
rolled.
it? Is it a touchdown? No, they'll just say fourth down.
Well, it looked as if the official was signaling touchdown from
He
up
does.
here.
He had both hands up. I think he was holding one up with a 3 and kind of pointing towards that it was Rivera ball. Third down. Check it, second down coming up and goal to go for the Raiders. They'll run it this time to Evans, and he's going to get in easily. Touchdown Raiders.
So, yeah, and back to Thursday's game, you and I talked before. He said this could be a potential shootout, but then again, the defense of Ed Calgelso reminded us why they only allow 13 points a game, and then you can start dissecting the football game on should have Santos Villarreal played in that football game with a bum hand. And the thing is, going into that game, I was curious whether it was his left hand or was it his throwing hand. Matter of fact, it was his throwing hand as well. So later on in the game, we started to see a lot of his passes being overthrown and whatnot. So
extra point coming up. I had a point I made on that. Someone asked me about that, what I thought. Like, hey, you saw him play. What do you think? Was he hurt? I said, I think he was injured. But I think when you put it on the scale, that him at 75% is probably still better than 100% backup. And so, he's that much better than their next guy in line. And so you look at what's the best talent on the football field capable of winning a football game. A 75% Villarreal was better than 100% backup. Therefore, he's a better player, injured or not.
Yeah, and it was a very important game for the Patriots. Despite them losing, they're still well alive in the playoff picture. But if the Patriots were able to pull away with a victory, they would have been tied with Ed Calgelso with a 2-1 record in district play.
Yeah, that's a shoulda, woulda, coulda kind of game for the Mission Veterans Patriots, who I think still will make the playoffs as you take a look at that district, as we'll finish up our thoughts on that one and get ready to talk about another district here. In this one, it's a 42-0 game. Rivera cruising, 6:41 to go here in the third quarter. Porter Cowboys will return a kick, and they'll bring it out across the 10 to the 15 and the 20, about the 22-yard line. Staying on his feet, they blew it dead before he went down. Nice second effort that time by Oscar Rodriguez. I think he caught the officials off guard on that, Kevin Noto.
Yeah, we've seen that happen multiple times where the players are still on their feet and they get a little upset, but it's just all about protecting the kids and protecting the players.
Yeah, they had stopped his forward progress, and then the second effort as he spun his way out of that, but by that time they had blown it dead. First down for the Cowboys. Take a look at some of the other districts out there. I think that's Sherryland and Edinburgh North matchup is still winding down. The big collision going to take place in a few weeks.
Yeah, and that's actually on October 31st, a Thursday night action. The defense for Edinburgh North is going to have their toughest task of the year. As for the Rattlers, will have their toughest task.
Pass play for the Cowboys completed out across the 25 to the 30, 35 and more to the 37-yard line. They go back to Oscar Rodriguez, the senior wideout, gets a first down. Move the chains, say the Cowboys.
It's first down, Cowboys. And again, like I said, there's always light at the end of the tunnel for the smaller, younger teams like the Cowboys. Much like Vela last year. I've seen the Cowboys a couple times this year. They show the potential. Again, it's just a matter of them putting it together.
First down play coming up for the Porter Cowboys. Clock running with 5:43 remaining in the third quarter. They'll run another pass play, and it's going to be a fumbled football. Raiders dive on it, and it looks like they're going to get it on the turnover.
Yeah, right there. He was being blitzed from behind, but you always, when you're watching quarterbacks, you always say that the quarterback has the clock in his head. When do I got to get rid of this football? That one's squarely on the quarterback, holding on the football for too long.
You saw him when he brought it back that he wanted to throw it, and he probably, now you look back, he should have thrown it right there. He had his chance, just didn't like what he saw downfield with the coverage on the receiver. Turnover gives the ball to the Rivera Raiders. They're already up 42-0, 5:25 to go in the third quarter. Danny Elizondo and his offensive troops back out on the field. getting the ball at the 27-yard line to make it the 28 of the Cowboys. Anthony Flores, a receiver to the right-hand side. They'll run the ball, though. Off a left tackle, a short gain by Mario Mendez.
So, and you mentioned that monster matchup. It's just one of those train wrecks that's going to happen right before our eyes. Sherryland, they just did not miss a beat. Diego Chrysler is a really good quarterback, and some big shoes he had to fill. I covered them in their first game against the Hannah Eagles. I saw a lot of Cires Barrera last year and Marco Avila out of the receiving end for the Rattlers, and then seeing Diego Chrysler and seeing a little bit of Lance Madden. Unfortunately, Madden went down with an injury, so now it's squarely Diego Chrysler's offense.
Second down play coming up for the Rivera Raiders. They'll run it again. New ball carrier in the game. He's going to fight forward for a couple of yards. Jair Guevara, the carrier. He's a junior for the Raiders. Yeah, I think you said it right, that the defense of Edinburgh North will certainly receive their biggest test at the offensive firepower that Sherryland comes in, but on the counter side, I think the bigger matchup is that Sherryland's offense is finally going to be tested by a very, very tough, flexible defense. And flexible is the keyest part of that component when you look at the makeup of that Edinburgh North team, and that is that they can do many, many different things to disrupt an offense. Running play, and they may have to. For the Raiders, that's down the sideline, right side, end zone, touchdown. Guevara again.
So now the Raiders are just really making it look easy, just simply running the football in for another touchdown.
Makes it 49 at the extra point pending. 48-0, Raiders on top. Turnover turns to points. We do thank again the Brownsville school system with the BISD Channel 17 production crew here on a Saturday afternoon in Brownsville. Extra point coming up for the Raiders. I've said that now 6 different times. Make it 7. Extra point up and good. 49-0. Raiders lead the Cowboys.
We could dissect that Edinburgh North Sherryland game. I know it's a couple of weeks away, but being realistic, both teams will be undefeated when they square off at Cat Stadium. And I really think the key for that offense is their junior running back, Matt Whitesides, who's a very complimentary back to Adrian Alvarez, who really broke out last year. And I remember when Alvarez went down, that offense just wasn't the same. But luckily, Whitesides came to save the day for the Cougars. So I really think the X factor in that game will be Whitesides.
We'll see what happens in that one. That's a Halloween night on a Thursday in Edinburgh. Follow that up with a Friday night matchup, Bird Bowl in Harlingen. That's a bang doubleheader, if you will, on valleycentral.com. We'll be streaming those games, and they'll be heavily viewed when it comes to the number of clicks already, I can tell you that. Kickoff time for the Raiders. Cowboys ready to return. Kick bounds away, goes out of bounds. Porter takes over at their own 35-yard line. 3:56 left here in the third quarter of play. San Benito falling last night to Westaco East, 14-0. We had already decided the game I was going to next week was going to be the winner of Westaco East San Benito, because if San Benito would have won, McAllen coming into San Benny would have been a big one. Westaco East winning. Now they take on Westaco. So that'll be a big one. That'll be a Friday, next Friday coming up. Thursday, we've got a couple of ball games that we'll be streaming on valleycentral.com, but both of them look like they're going to be non-factors as far as deciding anything, playoff picture. Economides trying to stay alive in the playoff picture, taking on a Juarez Lincoln team who will go into that one a decided underdog. Los Fresnos will be taking on here Brownsville Pace. Those are both Thursday night games coming up.
And the third Thursday game is PSJ Memorial against McAllen Rowe. So Nicky Rowe has an opportunity to get back in the win column. But then again, don't sleep on PSJ Memorial.
I wouldn't put them out. Then the Friday games, it's It's limited action on valleycentral.com. We've had 15 games at a time, as was the case this week. On the timeout on the field, we've got, let's see, La Jolla taking on Edinburgh Bobcats. Bobcats struggling. That'll be at Cat Stadium. Vela will try to get back in the win column. They should against La Jolla Palmview. McAllen Memorial and PSJA North. Memorial should continue to roll there. And again, that Westaco East game, San Benito McAllen. And then is that another Brownsville game? Yep, Lopez taking on this Porter team. And the final Friday game will be Harlingen South at home taking on this Rivera team, which might be where you get to go next Friday.
Just maybe. Here or Harlingen? Brownsville?
Is
Porter
that game?
and Lopez? There's
No,
also,
you'll probably be Harlingen. Possible.
Also Rio Grande City against the Mission Eagles.
Well, that's a Friday game as well, yeah.
That's the last Friday game scheduled. The next Saturday, we have Brownsville Veterans against the Harlingen Cardinals, which it's scheduled as a 7 o'clock game, which you said has been moved up to 11 o'clock.
Moved to 11 o'clock. I was told that last night, that game has been moved. Earlier in the year it was moved, and because they said heat, and more importantly because Texas A&M was taking on Alabama. I don't know who A&M's playing, but I know that there's certain coaches in that mix that would like to be free to watch that A&M game. Cowboys scrambling for their life, and that's going to go backwards and end up being a big loss on the play.
That was Oscar Rodriguez fighting his way for every ounce he could get or every yard he could pick up.
Just nothing there for him. Brings up second down. Now 25 yards to go for the Cowboys. They'll line up in a shotgun formation on this second down play. Trailing by a bunch, 49-0 the score. Pass play out for Rodriguez, incomplete, over his head.
So 3 games scheduled for next Thursday. Live video and audio. The home teams would be Juarez Lincoln, Brownsville Pace, and Nicky Rowe.
Who's Pace playing? The Falcons.
Los Fresnos. So Los Fresnos can pick up another win here. Like we mentioned, they can stay alive in that playoff picture. Then when you ask me between Harlingen South and Los Fresnos, I didn't hesitate to see Harlingen South, despite I've only seen the Hawks once, and I've seen Los Fresnos a couple of times. And again, I'll refer to it like a wet engine. You know, Los Fresnos takes time to get going. Let's not forget, they started off their first 2 games, they lost them in shutouts. So their offense, a little bit of question marks. Brandon Colon is one of their better wide receivers. They'll need him to have a big game if they want to make any type of playoff push.
3:03 left in this one. It is punting time. I'll check that. Yeah, punting time for the Cowboys, and this is going to go nowhere. It's going to be a safety for the Rivera Raiders. Punter, David Pacheco, never had a chance, and it's now 51-0 Raiders lead.
He kind of ran into his own blocker there. Just when it rains, it pours for these young Cowboys.
Makes it a 51-0 game. Still 2:55 left here in the third quarter of play. Brownsville St. Joseph in a homecoming game across town here in Brownsville. You actually see the lights from their stadium from here if you look up to our right. They're winning in their game, a close one at halftime, up by a couple. We'll have highlights of that on Action 4.
So the Bird Bowl, like Edinburgh North and Sharyland, will determine who wins district. About 90%.
Should do it, yep. I don't know, the Los Fresnos, Harlingen South. When is that matchup?
Let's dig into the website. We'll get you that momentarily. That's actually the last game of the season.
Okay, so if South beats Harlingen and Los Fresnos wins out, then South and Los Fresnos will play for the share of the district crown. It could be So I wouldn't say it's a lock that the winner of Harlingen South. If Harlingen wins, yes, because then the Cardinals will have beaten Los Fresnos already, and then Harlingen South. Kickoff goes out of bounds. It'll be the Raiders getting the football after the safety, already leading 51-0.
Yeah, so once again, this Raider team, and I'm sure they've been overlooked. They really had a tough schedule right out of the gate against Edinburgh North, Harlingen, Los Fresnos. All those three teams are playoff caliber teams. And their offense didn't put much points, 7-9-7 in those losses. But once again, Edinburgh North, they don't give up a lot of points to anybody.
No, that's what I was saying earlier on in that Thursday game when someone scored some points. That's a victory of sorts. I was trying to get some highlights from the Donna Redskins, and one of the games we had film on was their game against Edinburgh North, and I searched for a long time just to find some positive plays that Donna was able to run against that Edinburgh North squad. Okay, they're going to run just the game clock, the play clocks that we're talking about. Now we're ready to go, and that's a fumbled football. Looks like the Porter Cowboys going to get it. Raiders turn it over. Cowboys get it back.
Looks like he never really had possession of the football. Kind of in and off his chest.
So the Cowboys will take over. 1st and 10, 2:36. And counting here in this ball game. Maybe they're going to go with a running clock. 51-0 lead. Teams can elect to do that, I believe.
Taekwondo this still has to face off against Donna, which playoff implications and more seeding than rather who will make the playoffs at 3rd and 4th spots in that district.
Yeah, I think that's what that does, just positions themselves on where they're going to be. I think both teams are going to make it now with Vela having lost both Economides and I know Vela still has to play Sherryland
and
Edinburgh North. So, yeah.
So even if they would have gotten that win last night, for now the playoffs could have been still a possibility. But then, you still got the two top teams in the district and the Rattlers and the Cougars. But things really would have been shaken up if Vela were able to pull that one out last night.
Yeah, that's what was so important about Donna getting that win to lock Donna into that 3rd or 4th spot. Of course, Redskins still want to have something to say about higher expectations. Running play for the Cowboys, not much there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you're the Jaguars and the Redskins, you're almost certain you're going to clinch a playoff spot, but does it matter you want the 3rd or the 4th spot depending on who you're going to play in the first round?
Well, I think coaches eye that. They look at that, and they put a wish list together, but the bottom line is when they suit up to play on a Friday night or Saturday afternoon, they tell their kids, I want to win. I don't want to go in and lose a ball game just so we can get a better position. So they'll go try to hone it in and win ball games. Pass play by the Cowboys, and that's going to be a completed pass out across the 45 down into Rivera territory. They'll mark it down at the 44. We're in the 3rd quarter of play, closing seconds. We're under 30 seconds remaining. Rivera Raiders forced a turnover on the first possession of this ball game by the Porter Cowboys. Turned that into points and have not looked back. 51-0 they currently lead. Cowboys won't have to snap it. It's 4th and 15. 4th and 5, that is. And they'll have a multiple shift there right as the clock hits zeros. And now a discussion by the officials. And it'll be illegal motion on the Cowboys. That should take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Officials got to take a walk that way anyway to mark off the penalty yards, and now he'll just take an additional stroll of about 7 more yards and just reset the ball down, and we're set to go just that quick for the fourth quarter to begin.